aliens had underestimated humanity for the last time. Major Tom "Havoc" Harlan watched the alien armada darken Earth's skies. Their first assault had reduced the Nevada bunkers to rubble and glass, yet still he and his ragtag militia stood ready. Hope dwindled with each salvo of Zentari plasma. General Craxus leered from high orbit, claws tapping the armrest of his command throne. These pink, soft things could not withstand his legions for long. Once their last bastion fell, humanity would kneel before the Dominion or be extinguished. In the shadowed halls of Area 51, Harlan's engineers rushed to arm a jury-rigged superweapon, Earth's final chance to turn the tide against impossible odds. Its experimental power core strained alarmingly under the load. Capture or death awaited if it failed, but the alternative was extinction. Harlan steeled himself as the whine of charging capacitors reached a crescendo. "Hit those alien bastards with everything we've got left," he growled, "for all mankind." The explosion ripped through the desert. When the sand cleared, Major Tom "Havoc" Harlan stood in the wreckage. His victory ignited humanity. Encrypted chats and graffiti spread the message: fight back. Militias sabotaged the aliens in Europe. Snipers picked off targets in Asia's towers. Africa's jungles hid ambush squads that attacked with fury. The aliens had conquered worlds but met their match in humanity. General Craxus reeled from the losses. He sent the Vorax death squads, beasts who'd never lost. Their boots echoed through cities, leaving terror behind. But Harlan had already slipped away. His traps took a heavy toll, leaving alien corpses and a ghost haunting them. The invaders rebuilt fast with machines, but not fast enough to stop Harlan's raids, crushing morale. Then the burnings came. Craxus ordered the destruction of nature and cities to get Harlan. Flames consumed ancient forests, proud buildings became graveyards, yet each loss stoked humanity's determination hotter than the fires. In a ruined city, Harlan found his next move, a crippled scout ship. He pried open the hatch and rewired the comms. A channel cracked alive. His steel voice broadcast a trap across the stars to the aliens' leaders. False surrender terms, with only Harlan knowing the stakes. An invitation to end the hunt and claim Earth. Now he waits, ready to spring the trap when they land. General Craxus stared at the view screen as Earth came closer, his face twisted into a grotesque smile. He pictured Major Harlan in chains, the human broken, defeated. Craxus flexed his claws and ordered the flagship down. His warriors prepped to kill. Below, Harlan checked the wires and charges under the dirt. The surrender site now hid his militia's quiet fury. The soldiers lay still, weapons gripped tight. No one spoke, but their eyes said it all. Today they would win back their planet or die with honor. Craxus marched from his ship with elite warriors. Their boots thudded the soft earth. Unknowing, they walked over the lines of their ruin. Harlan watched Craxus approach, hand on the detonator. Silently, he counted down. At 0, he pressed hard. Explosions erupted. Zentari soldiers collapsed, cries piercing the war zone. But Craxus's shield held. He stood untouched amid the chaos. A vicious fight erupted. Humans charged with pent-up rage. Fists and rifles against the alien threat. Zentari fell. Their numbers dropped, but the humans pressed on, defiant hearts pounding. Craxus cut a path toward Harlan. Eyes locked on the defiant human. Their battle ragged at the center. Harlan moved with ghostly grace, steps calculated. Weapons clashed. A song of two races colliding with primal force. Harlan had planned this. He led Craxus to an exposed clearing, faked a stumble. As Craxus moved in for the kill, Harlan unleashed his trump card. A swift motion triggered the EMP. Invisible energy surged forth. Craxus's shield died. His armor now just foil. Humans swarmed. Harlan's fist struck true. The great Craxus captured. His warriors scattered leaderless. Word spread from smoking ruins to bunkers. Across Earth, hope ignited into defiance. Harlan's gambit had worked. Humanity roared as one. Unbreakable. The resistance surged in global uprising, all sparked by one man's spirit. They locked Craxus in a bare concrete room. Just 4 walls, a metal table, 2 chairs. The stale air stunk of fear. Craxus sat chained across from Major Harlan. A harsh lamp hung overhead, cutting shadows on Craxus's scaly face. Craxus glared at Harlan. "These chains are nothing. When my fleet comes, your world burns." Harlan leaned forward. "Not if we stop you first." He flipped a switch. Screens came on around the room. Ship movements, alien code scrolling. Harlan pointed. "Your ships dance to one tune, right?" Craxus smirked. "Our control is unbreakable. You can't disrupt it." Harlan smiled back. "We'll see about that." Deep underground, Harlan's team prepped the scout ship. Wires dangled from its belly. Code filled the screens, their virus to shatter the alien control. The ship hummed, ready to deal death. The crew locked eyes. Engineers, hackers, pilots. They knew the odds. Save Earth or die trying. "This payload cuts off the head," Harlan said. The ship lifted off, bound for the dark side of the moon. The ship closed on the alien station, hidden in shadow. The crew faked a distress signal, posing as aliens. Silence filled the cockpit. The metal station loomed closer, cold and dark. The aliens brought the scout in, expecting their own kind. The humans kept quiet, sweat on their brows. The virus waited to strike. Then chaos exploded. Alarms blared as the virus tore through alien systems. Lights flickered, ships collided and drifted, defenses spun wild. The alien network crumbled. On Earth, the news electrified Harlan's militia. Screens showed alien defeat. Hope swelled in their chests. A chance to rally and strike back harder than any force in history. "Time to show them Earth's fury," Harlan said. His team roared, ready to fight. Harlan stood on the command ship's bridge. He stared at the hologram showing Earth's ragtag fleet joining up. The ship hummed under his feet. Every pilot now wore the same patch, a blue planet in stars. The battered Zentari loomed ahead. Their ships flickered, still blind from Harlan's virus. Engineers scrambled to regain control. Commands echoed in metallic halls. "Hit them now while they're scrambled," Harlan's voice crackled. "Operation Thermopylae is go." Earth shimmered below, an emerald witness. Scrap-built fighters poured from the bays. Engines lit the blackness. Missiles and charged lasers packed their bellies. "Tight formation," a pilot ordered. "Aim engines and guns, piece by piece." Harlan watched his forces weave through the shattered blockade. Zentari explosions fueled human daring. Desperate alien volleys went wide, targeting still down. Boarding craft locked onto hulls with metallic thuds. Doors burst open. Soldiers stormed alien corridors, rifles ready. Boots rang on cold floors. Shouts filled Zentari ships as soldiers clashed. Rifle fire and yells echoed. Humans moved with primal fury, fighting for their jewel planet. The invaders tried holding ranks, but human rage defending home overpowered them. Blasts rocked ships. Chaos grew with each fallen alien. "Engine room breached on Theta. Charges set," came the report. Another voice strained. "Command deck ours." Around Harlan, the crew worked in silence. The ship shook from a glancing blow, but he hardly noticed. Harlan grabbed the comm, steady-voiced. "Hold the line, inch by inch, for Earth." As the last Zentari lights winked out, a roar rose from the human fleet. It echoed from ship to ship, growing louder. Harlan allowed himself a tight smile, surveying the drifting wreckage. "Report to ground teams. Time to reclaim our planet." When word spread that Earth beat the Zentari fleet, it sparked hope in oppressed worlds across the Dominion. In a stark prison cell, General Craxus saw footage of his broken ships floating above Earth. Shackled and stripped of armor, his cold certainty was now haunting realization. He had underestimated humans. On Earth, Harlan studied intel Craxus gave up. It became a map to the galaxy's oppressed. "We can hit them where it hurts," Harlan said firmly. "We'll free those under the Zentari and show tyranny has an expiration date." Coordinates and faces lit up screens. Species only knowing Zentari rule now had hope. Hidden in an asteroid field, new allies joined humans in war council. Tentacled Telnorians, feathered Ceresians, all shared the fire for liberation. They struck Zentari supply lines and communications with precision, vanishing before response. On occupied planets that never saw night without warships, Uprisings ignited. Alien freedom fighters and human commandos outmaneuvered the thinning Zentari forces. After battle on mining planet Graxos, the team planted flags in soft soil, Earth alongside Graxos, and more. Cheers filled the alien wind. "This is for all who want to live free," Harlan proclaimed. Zentari commanders shouted fruitless orders as officers fled to escape pods. Harlan's coalition liberated planet after planet, gathering allies and resources. Their courage united against oppressors. Zentari strongholds fell, their empire crumbling, leaving only echoes. The determined overcame them. The Zentari High Command chamber filled with angry finger-pointing. Officers accused each other of treachery and doom with scaly faces twisted in blame. Guards dragged away those marked for purge while their pleas faded down the corridors. In the Dominion's core, Tom Harlan snuck through the shadows. A huge Zentari fuel depot stood unguarded before him. He moved silently, planting bombs on vital pipes and reactors. His hands stayed steady as wires crept like veins. Harlan checked his watch. Time was running out. He set the last charge and hurried away on silent boots. The facility hummed, unaware of its imminent destruction. Outside, Harlan sprinted from the expanding roar. He dove behind a ridge as the ground shuddered. Flames engulfed the fuel depot, consuming Zentari fuel and hope. Alarms blared amidst the spreading chaos. The raging fire reflected in Harlan's eyes. Humanity's will to survive. Back at the rebel base, Harlan met with his diverse coalition. Telnorians wrapped tentacles around chairs, while Seretians preened colorful feathers. But their eyes held the same determined glint. Victory was close. "Today we starve the Dominion war machine," Harlan said. Nods rippled around the room. He traced an invasion path through enemy space. "We push for the homeworld. No mercy." His voice rang like hammer on anvil. The commanders rose, energized to reclaim the galaxy. They parted with invasion plans etched in their minds. Freedom sat on their shoulders. The oblivious Zentari leaders continued quarreling as the rebel storm brewed at their doorstep. The space around the Zentari homeworld came alive with the crackle of the coalition fleet's arrival. Harlan stared hard at the view screen. Zentari ships were everywhere, armed to the teeth. "Snake pit!" His words bit across the comm. The room felt frozen. A voice, steady and bold, answered him. "We're with you, Command." The Zentari opened fire. Their cannons tore through the coalition's lines. Harlan's ship bucketed and sparked as hits slammed home. His voice stayed sharp. "Hold tight. Aim for their guns." Outside was a madhouse. Laser fire crisscrossed the black. Ships spun and died in blooming flames. A Seretian cruiser exploded as a shot cleaved its hull. "Report!" Harlan barked over the noise. "Multiple breaches! Thrusters damaged! Weapons gone!" A tech yelled back. Harlan paused, thoughts racing. No fear. "Prep my ship," he said, rising from his seat. "You have command now, Commander." The commander's eyes glinted like steel. "Yes, sir." Harlan moved fast through the groaning ship. He reached the hangar where a slim fighter sat ready, its engines rumbling with power. "Good luck, sir," a mechanic saluted as Harlan climbed in. "Keep her fighting." The hatch sealed with a hiss. The cockpit was tight, built for speed. The doors opened. Harlan's fighter streaked out, other ships trailing behind. They were minnows next to the Capital ships they'd left. Harlan led the attack run. The fighters darted through the storm of Zentari fire. "Stay sharp. Hit their command ship low." His words lashed the comm. The fighters wove a lethal dance, skimming past beams that could vaporize them quick as a blink. The command ship appeared, huge and bristling with guns. Its hull was a fortress. "Now!" Harlan dove. The ships loosed their payload. Fireballs chased them out. The command ship's core detonated, spewing flame. More blasts followed as it tore apart from within. Harlan saw a flaming ruin where the monster had been. Enemy fighters scattered, lost without orders. "Command ship down! Move in!" Harlan's voice was an axe over the comm. The coalition ships attacked, their fire hammering the planetary shields. Fighters swept the skies clear. "We're through!" came report after report. Harlan piloted back to his battered flagship. Cheers met him on the hangar deck. The crew stood proud, faces lit with victory. No one stood idle as repairs went on. Soldiers manned their posts, engineers worked desperately to fix damaged systems. All had their part in this fight. Harlan looked again at the hologram. His ragged fleet was now a fist of courage and vengeance. His heart swelled with a leader's pride. The ground assault would come soon. This was just the start. But with the command ship gone, the tide had turned. For Earth, for the oppressed, for the galaxy. Hope, once a fleeting thing, now felt as firm as the steel of their ships. This was the day they seized their freedom back, the day they proved humanity's mettle. This was the day that would echo through the cosmos forever. The Zentri homeworld looked ravaged. It wore battle scars across the streets. Zentri citizens wandered amidst the rubble, lost and unsure how to rebuild their lives from the ashes of an empire that had felt so mighty. As coalition forces locked away the last of the Dominion's weapons, disarming troops, there was no celebration. Just a quiet knowing that the shadow of violent domination was finally lifting. Major Tom "Havoc" Harlan walked through the debris to the crowded city square. Zentari civilians stared at him. The man who led the offensive, with mixtures of fear, confusion, and some defiance. He stepped onto the stage. The silence was heavy with uncertainty. Harlan looked into the sea of Zentari faces and nodded to a technician. A drone overhead broadcast his image across the galaxy. "People of Zentari," Harlan's strong, clear voice began. "Your leaders promised dominion and supremacy. But we did not fight to conquer. We fought for freedom, to end oppression across worlds." He paused, letting his words land. His eyes never left the crowd. "Today, we could take vengeance, pay back pain with more pain. But that cycle ends now. We offer unity, not anger. From these ashes, let's build an alliance of free beings with dignity." His words echoed into silence, into homes and hearts that had only known the Zentari way. Harlan walked among the crowd. Cameras showed coalition soldiers handing out rations, medics tending the wounded, engineers clearing rubble. He reached out, gripping a Zentari's shoulder, a simple human gesture offering connection. Understanding flickered in the alien's eyes, the seed of trust planted. In the days that followed, Zentari and coalition leaders formed a governing body. They discussed laws, reparations, new frameworks valuing all voices. Harlan offered counsel, but also listened and learned. Finally, Harlan boarded the ship home. As it left the planet's atmosphere, he watched the Zentari world shrink into a blue and green sphere, dotted with lights of reborn cities. On Earth, he walked streets buzzing with laughter and life. Walls once scarred by war stood solid, freshly painted. Trees blossomed where only scorched earth had been. Atop a hill overlooking the city, Harlan stopped. He traced the dance of light across glass and steel, the green woven through like lifeblood. He breathed deeply, tasting hope and survival. He closed his eyes, feeling the firm ground, knowing this world was reborn, but still fragile. Peace was real, theirs to shape. In the evening stillness alone, Harlan bore the weight of loss against the promise of what could be. Challenges loomed ahead, but today he let himself believe humanity had forged a future beyond endless war. In the schoolyard, the children's voices rose as they gathered around the towering statue of Harlan frozen mid-stride, helmet under his arm. They knew his tale by heart, awe in their eyes. In the busy town square, the real Harlan, now aged with blurred vision, watched pigeons peck at crumbs. Another statue of him stood tall, as if guarding the people. Harlan moved unseen through the crowd in plain clothes, his frame bent from age, not the imposing soldier of before. He disliked monuments. Actions, not stone, defined a life. He spent his time in dim rooms surrounded by screens, securing allies with subtle words, an invisible web of protection for free worlds, stronger than steel. On Earth at night, city lights shone with peace. In a modest home filled with maps, Harlan reviewed defense plans, the tap of keys securing freedom. At the window, stars winked beyond. His mind reached out to allies near and far. He sensed the pulse of worlds spinning, lives connecting. Scarred hands turned pages, his legacy one of bonds, not battles. In the council chamber, myriad voices filled the air. Harlan stood guard, tracing the curves of the room. Fear was natural, but resolve burned bright. Humanity alone no more. The galaxy now stood together. A young envoy approached, scales glinting. She admired his tactics, hoped to contribute the same. He clasped her hand firmly. "Call me Tom. You'll outdo me soon enough." Unity once a dream, now reality. Hard-won and precious. Recruits saluted Harlan with respect, uniforms showing Earth and more. A mosaic of alliance. At the docks, crews loaded ships to scout the unknown. Faces set with purpose. Harlan taught war, but together they would explore. The cosmos waited with its secrets and threats, but the worlds stood strong, ready to face it together. Human spirit had enriched them all. Harlan walked away as ship sounds filled the air. Each step a silent testament. A life given to forge a future of hard-won peace.